black women, including activists, community leaders, and elected officials, have sent a blunt written challenge to Democratic National Committee Chair Tom Perez, telling him that black women have been a loyal voting bloc and have mobilized their communities for the Democratic Party with very little investment from party leaders. They also point out women are getting little party support for their efforts. The party's leadership across the nation has few black women, even though black women are winning elections with almost no help from the Democratic Party. In this letter, they wrote, organizing without the engagement of black women will prove to be a losing strategy, and there's too much at stake for the Democratic Party to ignore black women. The letter cites hard numbers as proof, noting that when President Barack Obama ran in 2008, 2012, black women voted at a higher rate than any other group in America. Again, any group. Now, in November, letter notes, even amid a decrease in black voter turnout, 94% of black women turned out to support Hillary Clinton for president. Plus, in the 115th Congress, there were 20 black women, the largest number in history. That, of course, includes Democratic California Senator Kamala Harris, the second black woman to serve in the U.S. Senate and the first in 20 years. The letter goes on to say that black women have demonstrated their commitment to the Democratic Party, and it's time for the party to demonstrate its commitment to them. Let's get right into it, folks. Again, right now with some of the folks who actually signed that letter, joining us via Skype, Amelia Island, who's in Florida, also Melanie Campbell, President and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. She is among the many women who signed the letter, of course, also joining us via Skype. For Columbia, South Carolina, Jamie Harrison, the Associate Chair and Counselor of the Democratic National Committee. In studio, Barbara Arnwine, Founding President of the Transformative Justice Coalition, human rights activist Jamira Burley, Pastor Shannon Wright, third Vice Chair of the Maryland GOP. All right, so Melanie, y'all sent the letter.
Yeah.
Signed by many people, NAACP Chair Emeritus Rosalind Brock, Tamika Mallory, and others. What has been the response so far of DNC Chair Tom Perez?
I spoke to Tom Perez. Not exactly sure if it was before or after the letter went out, but I did speak to Tom Perez. And one of the key things is we want to return on our investment. You know, it's not against Tom Perez. It's really even bigger than about the DNC, because the Democratic Party apparatus really from the DNC to the DCCC to the Senate to the governors, state parties, the return on investment is just not there. And you have, and I want to take special shout out to Higher Heights and some of the other sisters who reached out to me and others. So supporting young leadership, sisters are stepping up. And so that's very, very important. But what we want is a return on our investment. It's about one of the first things that happened when Secretary Perez was elected the chair was, and nothing against, this is not against anybody, just the facts. The two deputy chairs that were chosen were black men. You know, okay, so.
Well, hold on, Melanie, I got to ask you this question here because this was bothering me. Okay, so you sent a letter after Tom Perez gets elected. Why weren't these demands made before the election, after November, thinking forward, so not waiting for the election, but saying, hey, y'all want to remake the party? Donna Brazile was interim chair. You had other black women who have been leaders. Y'all better make sure we will see at the table.
Well, yeah, so that's the side of it. I'm on a nonpartisan side. I'm not involved in the bowels of the DNC, but I've been on both sides in my career, both partisan and nonpartisan. And so I think I happened to be in Atlanta after he was elected, so I saw some of the latter parts of what happened in Atlanta. And you did have people really fighting. LaToya Jones was one of the people who was up for a position. But I also saw young activists in the party really pushing those who were former.
But here's the point that I'm making.
So I saw that, but I honestly don't have that day-to-day on how the process.
And the point I'm making, I understand your position being nonpartisan. But what I am saying is, for those very same people, that should have been the demand before the election, because unfortunately, what it looks like is that, again, we are speaking after the fact. So now as well, let's sort of figure out what's going on as opposed to before it happened. Jamie, I want to bring you in right here. So, okay, letter's been written. Black women, hugely important to the Democratic Party. What y'all gonna do?
Listen, man, Roland, black women are the heart of the Democratic Party, not just hugely important.
So where are they in leadership then?
Exactly. Well, they are in leadership. And
where?
The thing is, we need to get them more in leadership. So
okay, so right now, so give me a sense, who are the top black women in the Democratic Party and what are their positions?
So right now, in terms of the transition of Tom Perez, it was a black woman who was the transition, Reverend Leah Daughtry, who led our transition for how we rebuild this Democratic Party effort. Leah was not only in the transition, but as you recall, if you go back to the convention, probably for the first time ever, a Democratic convention was almost completely controlled by black women.
Hold on one second. I understand that. That was 2016. What I'm asking you right now, Jamie, right now, in the Democratic National Committee office, right now, and on the leadership, who are the black women and what are the positions?
So in the leadership, and I'll go into the staff as well. So in the leadership, you have Karen Carter-Peterson, who is the vice chair from Louisiana. You also, Tom Perez also just added, when he added me to the mix, he added Lorna Johnson, who ran for treasurer, but lost the race for treasurer, and he added her as an assistant treasurer.
Okay.
As it relates to the staff. So right now, I think there's about 9, 10, 12 leaders and vice chairs and what have you. 5 of us are African American, and 2 of the 5 are women.
Okay.
And that is, Tom doesn't really have a whole lot of control over that. That the DNC at large has to.
Right. But no. Those are those vice chair positions. Now, within the actual DNC staff, the DNC staff, who are the highest ranking black women?
So in terms of the staff, Tom just hired a new COO. It was a white woman before, and then now it's an African American woman.
Who is she?
She worked at the Peace Corps. Her name, she literally was just hired about a week ago. I'm just sorry, Laura Chambers. She's the new COO.
So Laura Chambers is the new COO of the Democratic National Committee.
Exactly.
Okay. Who else?
The director of the Office of Leadership, which is the person who runs all of the vice chairs and is our liaison to the DNC. That's Julie Green. Patrice Taylor runs the operation of party affairs. Lisa Hargrove runs. She's the director of meetings and conferences, which is a new, based off of what we just created in transition, is a new department that was just created.
Okay.
We're interviewing a political director, and the top 2 candidates right now are African American women.
Okay. Okay, Melody, go ahead.
Well, hi, Jamie, and I love Jamie, and it is not just about staff. It's being engaged in definitely the hiring, being in executive positions. As far as I'm concerned, it should have been. But if black women are the most loyal base for the Democratic Party, seems to me one of the first persons should have been hired as an executive. I went to a women's meeting that Tom Perez held a few weeks ago, and many of us African American women who were in that room asked that pointed question: "What are you doing?" We gave Hillary Clinton 94% of our vote. Democrats don't win without the black vote, and that means black women. And so with that, I say, where is that in not just your hiring? Where is that in your vendors? Where is that in your decision-making?
Okay, Melly. Okay, so
where is that in your state party leadership? And where is that when black women run for office? It's not just that. It is really a fundamental shift and change that needs to take place. And as black women, it's not about being tired. It's about understanding that black women, especially younger black women, millennial black women, they are not loyal to this party. So
Melody, I got to ask you this here, though. Okay, because I want to expand this thing beyond the Democratic National Committee. Okay, so this letter was sent to Tom Perez. Are y'all going to send the same letter to Emily's List, to the DCCC, to the DSCC, to the Democratic Governors Association, to all of these progressive groups that spin to the labor unions? Look, the AFL-CIO just gutted their civil rights division. So the question I'm asking is, all of these progressive groups, that are spending millions of dollars on grassroots campaigns, on ads. They have not been spending money with black people. PowerPack dropped their particular study that showed they were spending some 1.7% of $500 million. And I've been targeting all of them. Are y'all also going to target them to demand they also be accountable? Because, again, the DNC is one thing, but there literally are millions and millions of dollars being spent from these other groups, and we are totally non-existent.
No, Roland, I agree. Again, I am in a nonpartisan space, so it's not that I'm able to do all what I'd like to do if I didn't have this hat on. But the reality is we have to challenge even internally ourselves how we leverage our vote. One of the key things that I try to do with many of us is really get black women to figure out how better to leverage our vote. The party process is one of those things. Our progressive friends, if you will, is another. I know you have Barbara Unwine in there with the Transformative Justice Coalition. Many of us have been on the battlefield quite a while.
Okay.
So something different has to happen for us to move our agendas forward.
Jamie, final comment, 20 seconds.
Yes. Listen, Roland, I know and many of us are working with Tom Perez because we are making sure that he understands that black women are the heart of the Democratic Party. And he's listening to us. And I know, Melanie, we're looking forward to working with you and the whole group. Tom's very sensitive about this and wants to make sure that it's not just words, but it's our actions.
All right.
From our vendors to the staff, that they reflect what the Democratic Party looks like and what it needs to be.
All right, Jamie, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Melanie, Melanie, I'm out of time. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Let me quickly go to our panel here on this particular topic here. Again, on the issue of funding, I've been pushing these various groups because they haven't been spending money. DNC, I totally understand, big target. But the reality is when you look at the amount of money being spent and the troops being put out there, those groups don't talk to us at all. And so I hope they also go after every single progressive group, demanding them. In fact, on Monday, we're going to have a discussion. They've done an assessment of the Green movement. Black folks virtually non-existent.
Well, listen, I think this whole topic should be an entire hour show because there's so much to this topic. Any winning team builds the team around their star player. Black women are the star player of the Democratic Party. There's a problem that people want to treat black women like the side piece, not like the major prime player that she is in this party. It is time for a change. It's got to be universal. I am so tired of hearing black women who are running for office talking about how they go to these local party operatives who tell them they can't win, who tell them they're not going to get a dime, who tell them they're not going to recommend them. These are problems, as you're saying, Roland. This is a comprehensive rewrite.
Oh, no, absolutely.
A comprehensive reboot.
No, I fully agree. I think too often what happens is that black women particularly are thought about as an afterthought and are put on the back burner until you ask them about their vote. Working with black women, particularly in communities, is not just like the right thing to do, it's actually the smart thing to do. We not only show up in numbers, we actually show up collectively to move a candidate forward. And so I think that not just the Democratic Party, but also any progressive group that says that we value communities of color, we value what's happening on the front lines, they have to not just hire black women, they have to fight for their issues. They have to look at black women, not just as women, not just as black, but at the intersectionality of their identity.
But Shannon, again for me, and I appreciate them sending the letter, but sending the letter after the election, to me, is being late to the game. I'm talking about, and again, look, I do Tom Joyner, we do this show. I would have more than happy put anybody on the show to jam up the DNC before the election. So right now, we know the midterms are next year.
Right.
Don't wait. I don't want to wait until May and June and then go, okay, where's the black voter turnout plan?
Absolutely. But it's funny listening to this segment. It's more than just a one-party problem. When they talk about at the party level, at the federal level, at the state level, I am the first black woman ever elected in Maryland to represent the Republican Party, ever. So it's not just one party, it's not just at one level, it's everywhere. So when you talk about comprehensive changes and comprehensive plans, I'm not even sure where you start because there's so many areas that need help.
So here's what I need before I gotta go to this next topic. So here's what I need very clearly. So I look at this camera right here. Okay, let me be real clear, okay? I've told you all this when it came to the issue of the sister in McKinney, Texas, when Now was late to the game. I told you all this when I felt black women were too silent when it came to a Supreme Court justice, and they chose to play the inside game versus bust President Obama's chops externally to rally support. This is what is required as far as I'm concerned, and I appreciate the letter. But what I need to see is the Black Women's Roundtable. I need to see Alpha Kappa Alpha, Delta Sigma Theta, Sigma Gamma Rho, Zeta Phi Beta, the Links, Ladies of Distinction, all of these female groups maximize the power and say, we are going to put pressure on you like you've never felt before. It is useless for us to have organizations that meet and gather and buy products and have meetings, but then don't mobilize and organize that membership to be able to put pressure on folks. Again, nobody voted at a higher rate in 2008 and 2012. But the question is, what are we doing with the power? And what I'm saying is, don't just target the DNC. Target every single progressive group, because that's also where the problem is. And I'm telling you right now, Emily's List and on down, you go look at their staff, go look at their executive committees, we're not there. And they're making decisions that impact us. And so that's really what has to happen. A peaceful protest turned deadly. 37-year-old black man was shot and killed by Baton Rouge police. His hands are in the air, and you still get shot by the cops.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
We're not gonna let hate define us.
Race is a big part of this.
If truly all lives matter, then all lives need to matter equally.
What we require is action. What we require is accountability. We understand that black lives do matter, and we will keep focused on this issue.
NewsOne Now, every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.